family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J. Loren Norris.
I have in the past run, I don't know if you want to say afoul, but run into issues with teams, with leaders, with other managers, with peers, with superiors, and with people that I serve. Because I have a personality. I have strong opinions. I'm a passionate person. I'm an ambitious person. And sometimes that always doesn't look the same to other people. They think I want to browbeat them, or that I refuse to have any compromising ideas, that I'm not willing to listen to others. From my opinion, none of those things are true. I just know what I believe because I spend a whole lot of time researching what I believe, and I'm willing to be convinced that I'm wrong, but you're going to have to be prepared to convince me. Your opinion alone and your feelings won't do it. You're going to have some pretty strong evidence to convince me that I'm wrong. Because of that, some people think I'm stubborn and hard-headed. And I'm not the only one. I think it's a tendency of leaders. And I'm not sure which is the chicken and which is the egg, but that's exactly what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.
I'm J. Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. And I'm not sure which is the chicken and which is the egg. Is it that people become leaders, influencers, decision makers, and as a result they become stubborn, hard-headed, driven, passionate people? Or is it that stubborn, hard-headed, driven, passionate people tend to rise to the places of leadership and influence? Maybe it's because they're stubborn and hard-headed and they're hard for anybody else to lead. Or maybe it's because that thick-skinned, hard-headed, well-determined, well-visioned person is what it takes to be in leadership. I'm not sure who it is you pay attention to as a leader, but I don't know a leader yet who has not been targeted, come under attack, attempted to be silenced. I don't care if you're talking about political leaders, or you're talking about religious leaders, or you're talking about business leaders. I mean, let's go as extreme as we can possibly imagine. Let's look at a Gary Vaynerchuk, a Grant Cardone, business leaders, Vivek Ramaswamy, business leader, not a religious leader, not a political leader. How about Ravi Zacharias? How about John MacArthur? All of these are people who, in their category, in their industry, they are in the top levels of influence. Lance Wallnau, Mike Lindell, business leaders who have opinions, people who have great ideas, people who are making a difference. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. They have risen to the top. Now, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that I agree with, endorse, or support all the ideas. Just by the list, you realize we have covered the gamut of worldviews and ideologies. Ravi Zacharias, Mike Lindell, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, not exactly thinking and saying the same things, if you know what I mean. But all of them have this in common. The more attention they get, the more negative attention they get. The more they speak their mind, share their opinions, make a difference in the lives of others, the more they come under attack. On one day, it means that they come under attack because they have financial influence, and someone thinks they should share that influence with others who didn't work as hard to gain it as they did. On another day, it may be that they come under attack because they've said something that the population maybe doesn't agree with, or maybe just a small sliver of the population doesn't agree with, but it's a small sliver of population who has a lot of financial backing and influence. And maybe you don't know names like George Soros and Klaus Schwab and the leaders of BlackRock and the leaders of World Bank and the leaders of Bank of America. But these are people that, for the most part, stay in the shadows. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows what they're up to, but they have also strong opinions. They also have strong ideas about the way things ought to be done. And they have the financial clout to find the people who are willing to risk their careers for a little finance to make it happen. See, these are the kind of people who will infiltrate your board. They'll work really hard to get hired on to your team. They'll come in from the outside. They'll sit down and have lunch with you as if they're interviewing you for some media piece, or maybe even interviewing you for a different job, or interviewing to get on your company. And the whole thing is a ruse, looked like it's real, but it's really about finding the chink in your armor. See, what they're looking to do is catch you in a lie. They want to find a place where you've told something inconsistent with a provable truth, or even just to get you say the same thing in two different ways so they can call it a lie. And if they're good at what they do, they'll catch you. Now, this is nothing new. We can go all the way back to the days of Joseph. Joseph, you may remember him, a historical character. Thousands of years ago, Joseph had a dream, and he said, one of these days my brothers are going to bow down to me, and he made the mistake of telling his brothers how powerful he would one day be. So they threw him in a pit and sold him off to be a slave. Told his dad he was dead. True story. 40 years later, he's still a slave. He gets a job with an influential somebody. Starts making a difference in the guy's life. Starts making a difference in the guy's business. And the guy's wife hits on him. Well, he says no, runs away. She steals his coat as he's running away and reports him for trying to, Me Too movement, sexual harassment, right? He's now been charged, not found guilty, but he's been charged. And in that day, if you have enough influence and enough power, you can charge somebody with something, you can accuse them of something, and they go to prison whether there's a trial by jury and it's proved or not. Wait, has that even changed? No, not really. If you've got enough power and influence, you can accuse somebody of something and destroy their life with a false accusation. It happens every day. And guess who the targets are? People who influence the lives of others. Yeah, see, if you're making a difference in the lives of others, you're going to be a target. Because there are those people who don't want you to make a difference in the lives of others, especially if the difference you're making is helping them to become aware of something that others are trying to hide. If you expose a truth, if you empower the wrong people, if you bring freedom to a community, to a society, to a continent, you will become a target. And when they target you, they will pull out every trick in the book. Every arrow in the quiver they've used for the length of human history. Potiphar's wife probably wasn't recruited by the CIA or the FBI because they didn't exist then. But the strategy's the same today. They call it a honeypot. When the cute little somebody makes you feel really special as a leader and they sneak up beside you and really all they're looking to do is corrupt your reputation, to make it seem like you did something you didn't do. You might get Kavanaugh'd if you're not careful, accused of things from 40 years ago that you had nothing to do with, and they can't really prove it, but the accusation is enough to destroy your reputation and your career goals and your ambitions. And really, those who like to hide in the shadows and not get caught up in the game themselves, they deploy the honeypot. They deploy the would-be accuser. They pay them to make the accusation so they don't get caught making false accusations. But that's somebody, well, they're useful idiots. Well, we'll give them a little extra cash because that's something they don't have. We'll make them feel special and important until they do the job of bringing down the person that we want to stop influencing. And when they've done that, then we'll give them their money and they go on their way. And if they don't go on their way, then we'll cancel them. We'll backfire the whole trap on them and expose them for the false lies they told. And if you think I'm making this stuff up, you just don't read the news, because it happens in every category of life and in every direction. It happens on a regular basis in small business. Maybe you've heard me ask the question that is the guaranteed trap. Imagine you're a leader, company Christmas party. A woman walks up while you're standing there talking to your wife and says, "Mrs. So-and-so, what should I do the next time your husband grabs my breast in a business meeting?" Now realize the question itself is packed with an accusation. It may have never, ever, 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 never, ever happened, but it raises doubt. It sounds to attorneys like a lawsuit. It sounds to HR like a personnel problem. It sounds to a spouse like unfaithfulness. It sounds to investors, customers, clients, board members like an untrustworthy leader. It only took the question. The question itself doesn't require evidence. The question itself may not ever end up in a court of law. The question itself may do nothing from a legal standpoint, but it has released a whirlwind of distrust and dishonor and disreputation. Leaders will become targets. Ask every pastor, every business owner, every CEO. They're going to catch you saying something if you ever cross the line. You will do what you're told, or they will come after you. They'll catch your phraseology. They'll find something you said 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 35 years ago, 45 years ago, a relationship you had that was questionable, and they will use it to destroy you. And if they can't find anything, that doesn't mean they won't come after you. It just means they'll use a different approach. So, what do you do as a leader? Well, maybe you've heard it in any form of sports. The best defense is a good offense. So what does an offense look like that prevents you from being the target of someone else's malicious allegations? Well, the best defense is a good offense. And a good offense is integrity. The best offense for a leader is integrity. Add transparency to integrity, and you have an almost impenetrable field, like a force field around you to defend you. It's like the Iron Dome of Israel. Things may get through from time to time, but the amount of damage they can do is pretty slim. I could be accused of a lot of things, but there are very few thoughts that go through my head that my wife is not privy to. She is my number one accountability partner. I am transparent like a piece of glass to her. No thought, no opinion, no idea, good, bad, or stupid, is withheld from her. If it goes through my head, I will probably tell her, even if the response is going to be an eye roll, and after 28 years, I'm getting pretty close to knowing when an eye roll is coming. Sometimes it's just a bowing of the head and a nod like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with him? But you know what you'll never do? You'll never tell my wife something she hasn't heard come out of my mouth first. It's true of the people that I work with. They've seen me at my best and my worst. They know who I am in every moment. You can ask some of my clients. They see me head down, doing the thing that I do when I am intensely focused, passionately committed to a level of excellence to get done what needs to be done. I'm not very friendly in that moment. You can ask them. They'll tell you. Some of them have chided me on that. They're like, you should be more friendly. You should smile more often. I'm like, I don't have time to smile. I'm not here to socialize. I've got work to get done, and it requires my full focus and attention. I can't stop and grip and grin at this moment. This isn't a political venture for me. if the cameras have to be set up and the lights have to be turned on and the mics have to be tested, I can't do that with 50% of my attention and do it well. If you want me here to socialize, don't pay me to do the audio-visual. If you want me here to do the audio-visual, don't expect me to socialize until after I'm done with that, because it's impractical and unprofessional to do both. Now, how does that measure against an attack? Well, what happens is that I have people who might say, well, I'm not sure that I want to hire him. He doesn't seem very friendly. And immediately my clients will say, if you hired him to be friendly, you would have a different thing. But if you hired him to do something with excellence, he's focused. He is devoted. He is committed to what he's doing. And he's not going to let up until it's done well, done right, and done. Then he'll socialize. When your customers can come to your bat that way, when your board members come to your bat that way, when your family comes to the bat that way, it's because you have transparency and integrity. It's because you're not trying to hide anything or fake anything or be somebody you're not. It's when you try to fake and hide and be something you're not that as a leader, you have chinks in your armor. And in that moment, people are going to come up behind you. They're going to sneak up to your quiet spots. They're going to find the place where you just haven't told anybody that and kind of keeping it a secret. And they're going to expose your secrets. They're going to expose your weaknesses. And they're going to bring you down. Oh, and trust me, if you haven't heard about the ideas of not just the honeypots, but the other vulnerabilities, temptations that become vulnerabilities, there are an entire group of people out there who look for leaders who either are now or one day will be very influential. Trust me, political leaders groom them. One of the questions I hear in the coaching circles that I work in when I work with political clients is, where do we find the next great orator for public speaking in the political realm? Somebody who has thick skin and a clean reputation. Somebody who can step up there. Maybe you don't know this. Rosa Parks was not the first one to refuse to sit at the back of the bus. She was just the best public face to put forward. She was recruited and groomed for that role. If you don't believe me, just look it up. In the same way that Henry Ford wasn't the first person to make an automobile. Wasn't even the first person to make an assembly line. He was just the best and the best one to put forward. You don't believe me? Look it up. Do your homework. The truth is out there. Elon Musk did not create the first electric car. They've been around since the turn of the 20th century, early 1900s. Before the Depression, we had electric cars. But those ideas were suppressed because it was financially beneficial for somebody else not to have electric cars on the road. You, as a leader, will be selected. You will be groomed. You'll be pushed forward by certain people who feel like they can benefit from your success. They will give you opportunity if you have the right personality, the right charisma, the right character, the right knowledge, the right insights, the right relationships. They'll offer you insights and relationships. And your best defense is a good offense, and your best offense is integrity. Combine that integrity with transparency, and suddenly you become hard to overcome. There's a word for that. Not used much anymore. It's in the dictionary, though. It's called insuperable. Something impossible to overcome, overwhelm, or pass by. Look it up. I'm not making that up. It's a true story. It's in the dictionary. You have to go back to some old ones, though, because the word has been manipulated. 1960s Webster's Dictionary is where I found it. If you are a leader, you will become a target. The best defense is a good offense, and the best offense is integrity. Find some. Hold on to it for dear life. It's the best hope you've got. I'm Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
Loren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Loren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Loren will serve you well.
Thank you.